Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mikey. I'm hanging out on my yoga ball. I'm getting ready to move, and as a result, a lot of my equipment is packed up, so I'm focusing more so on content. I wanted to talk to you guys about monitors because as I was breaking down my studio, obviously I'm breaking down my monitors and I'm seeing that I have a couple different pairs, and I just remember how lost I felt, especially with monitors. It's easy to get lost in a lot of stuff, which dial you should use, what kind of computer you should buy, what sounds you're going to use, how you're going to get better, who deserves your money, should I sign up with Sonic Academy, should I go with Point Blank, should I go with somebody else, what do I do? But the biggest thing for me, or one of the biggest things, was monitors. And really, my findings, this is just my opinion and some people may disagree, but my findings are this: it really does not matter what monitors you buy. Just understand the way music sounds on those monitors. And what I mean by that is, because a lot of us are into trance and techno, let's just say trance for now to make it easy. Just take a well-produced track, a well-mixed and mastered track, typically found on bigger labels like Armada or Future Sound of Egypt or whatever you want to do. Cold Harbor, there's 8 billion, just take, or you could just say take your favorite label, whoever you really like and are influenced by, and listen to their music on the monitors that you buy. It doesn't matter if you buy Yamahas or Focals or whatever. I have both just because I learned this lesson later in life and learned it after buying a few different pairs of monitors. And while I'm happy I have a few different pairs, the thought of selling a pair or two has definitely crossed my mind before, because you just don't need a lot of pairs of monitors. What you need to know is how your monitors are going to give your ears the music that you listen to. So if you're listening to Future Sound of Egypt or Armada, just casually listen and understand it. But then what you want to do is A-B how your music sounds in reference to how Future Sound of Egypt and or Armada sounds through those monitors. And don't just do it once or twice. Don't just do it for 5 minutes and think that you have done your homework. No, do it for an hour. Like literally take one track from Armada or one track from Future Sound of Egypt and then your track. Try to limit it to just one professionally produced track and then your track. Just limit it to 2 tracks, yours and then the professionally produced one from a bigger label, and A-B them. Go back and forth with them and do it quickly. So take both tracks and drag them into your DAW and solo one and then solo the other, then solo one, then solo the other. And you'll start to hear, by quickly changing the tracks back and forth, you'll hear the sonic difference, the mix difference. You'll hear how maybe your kick isn't as prominent, or the kind of kick that you picked is completely wrong for trance and maybe it would be better for techno. You'll just hear little things about, and big things about your mixing abilities and your production and mastering and everything that goes into making a track. You'll just start to be able to mentally take notes on your abilities versus what the abilities of someone who's on Armada or Future Sound of Egypt is, or whatever the record label may be, through your speakers. If you have a bunch of different speakers and you keep changing them, you're not going to be able to do this effectively. And this is why I say you really only need one set of speakers, and just A-B, go back and forth and get to know how an Armada track sounds on them. But the only way to really understand how an Armada track sounds on a certain set of speakers, or Future Sound of Egypt, or whatever it may be, the only way to really do this is to have a reference, because listening to just one well-produced track on your speakers isn't going to tell you a whole lot until you have something to compare that track against. A good comparison against that track is your music. So, you're hearing how a well-produced track sounds on your speakers, and you're hearing how your bedroom-produced track sounds on those speakers. Not only do you get a good idea of how the speakers sound professional versus bedroom-produced tracks-wise, but you get a good idea of what you need to work on, as far as getting your abilities more closely matched to that of the industry leaders. So keep that in mind. Don't stress over which ones to buy. Stress over the process I just explained to you once you get them home and hooked up. To me, there's a lot of like audio snobs out there who might disagree, but honestly, it doesn't freaking matter. And marketing will drag you through the dirt and through the mud and make you think that you need to buy these guys over those guys. It does not matter. Just understand the speakers themselves. You don't have to freak out over which brand you went with or how much you can spend, but if you can understand once you get them home, okay, this is how an Armada track sounds through it, but I don't really know the difference. Okay, now A/B it with your track, and you say, oh, okay, so I hear what I'm doing wrong, and I hear how a well-produced track should sound through the speakers. Assuming that you need a lot of work and your track is not well produced, but let's face it, I think if we all put the ego aside, we can agree that we all could grow. And then you can then introduce a third track. So Future Sound of Egypt sounds like this. Let me compare that to an Armada track. Okay, I'm hearing it, but even though they're different, the general consensus is they're both clear. And I can hear how muddy my track is or how not well mixed my track is compared to their tracks. You're always going to have differences. Even if you take wonderfully produced tracks from the same label, you'll still have little differences because the producers themselves, assuming that both producers didn't hire the same ghost producer, you're still going to have differences because they're different producers in general. But the general consensus is they're both, even though different producers, the tracks themselves are clear. They're well mixed. They're going to sound good. When you compare that to yours, then you can see where you're going wrong. Maybe your bass mixing is off. Maybe your top end is too bright. So that should really help you guys. Don't really worry about getting freaked out over which speakers to buy or getting freaked out by what the Guitar Center rep told you. What you need to get freaked out on is making a freaking decision and just buying a set and running with them. It's pretty much fair to say no speakers are going to be bad, okay? What you have to just understand is whatever you end up going with, just understand how music, yours and professionally produced music, and the gap in between the two sounds on those speakers. Doesn't matter the brand or what you go with, it just matters about the process that I just explained. If you can do that, it really won't matter what speakers you buy because you already have a reference on, okay, I know that these speakers tend to be bass heavy, but this is how Armada sounds through them. I know that this set of speakers tends to be mid-heavy, but I still know that that same track from Armada sounds this way on those speakers compared to mine, and this is the work I need to do to get it closer to the Armada track. So hopefully that's good. Sorry, I'm half sick. I ate Waffle House today, and I'm all burpy and disgusting because it makes me sick, and I really just need to stop eating there. But I love you guys, and I hope that helps. Later.